from University of Nebraska and Missouri State University, where she's now teaching to Zambia and to Ethiopia. But her philosophy on this is always, you just can't go into a community and meet with families and get research. You have to give back. And giving back for her has meant providing dental supplies and dental treatment, literally for thousands of kids. Dr. Willis is a scholar. She taught at University of Nebraska-Lincoln for 10 years, for 22 years. She's now in Missouri State. And it's a great privilege and honor to welcome my great friend, Mary Willis.
Thank you all, first of all, for coming to listen to a brief overview of the work done in Zambia, and I have to thank all of you for the contributions that made the work possible. Really a very special opportunity for me, for students in the US and Zambia, and also for all of the children we helped this summer. So this first slide shows some of the children that were treated at the dental college, and a boy smiling. Some of the most beautiful teeth I've ever seen are in Zambia. However, children are losing them very, very young to decay, mostly from sugar. Sugar's really a problem in that country. So I worked at 2 sites in Zambia. It might be hard to see the map. Zambia's a funny little shaped country, but I went to Livingstone at the very end. That's where Victoria Falls sits. Beautiful part of the country, and we helped a few children there. But mostly I worked in a town called Ndola, and it's right beneath the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that's the country, 2 provinces we were able to work in. I also showed you the flag because the national bird of Zambia is the African fish eagle. And it's very much like the bald eagle. So there's an affinity in terms of those species. And this is the university we collaborate with. I hadn't been back since 2018. COVID came. My colleague that I worked with there for years contracted COVID and died. And I didn't feel comfortable going back for a time. They didn't replace her job. She was the community outreach person. In any case, we decided, let's go back and see what we can do. A brand new dental college there that just opened in 2018 as I was leaving previously. And so it was a pleasure to come back and work in the dental college. And we work with children in primary schools. We go to work with mostly 6th and 7th graders. This is a time when kids are growing, so it's really important to make sure their teeth are healthy and also to check their height and weight. Lots of underweight kids in Zambia because they're just not getting enough food. So in this particular summer, we were able to work in 5 different primary schools. And we had permission, of course, to enter the school. It's done through the Ministry of Health, so a very complicated process to get in and to get our work done. Our students all go through ethical training. We make sure they understand an appropriate way to collect data. We interview the children. We measure their height and weight and their arm circumference. And we look for visible dental problems. Every child gets a toothbrush and toothpaste, and we give them some hygiene education. That's really important in our work. If we find a child that needs help, we send home a permission slip to parents. They have to give approval for their children to go for treatment. And in all, in 3 weeks, on the ground in Ndola, right again near the Democratic Republic of Congo, we screened 1,123 children. And this was done, again, in a collaborative way. I'll tell you about that in a moment, but we looked for visible caries or cavities, so really black holes, if nothing else, in the teeth. And we wanted to get children who could have an extraction or a filling, a pretty simple dental procedure. And oftentimes we find in children that have retained baby teeth, sometimes all the way up into their early teens. That causes problems. If that tooth decays, then it decays the permanent tooth beneath. And of course, we find all kinds of interesting and unusual cases, as you do in any population, but children with extra teeth and so on. And so these are some of the examples of dental conditions, perhaps a bit hard to see, but we would find children with the need to have 5 teeth extracted. That is, the decay was too big to fill the tooth. The child is between 10 and 12, and imagine losing your permanent teeth this young. It means a lifetime of struggle, and there will be no dentures and there will be no implants. So they're really struggling when they lose their teeth. So this is what we worked on. Children bring permission in, they come in to the dental college. We screened, as I said, 1,123 children, and of those, about 30% had a visible need for treatment. We had to send home permission. Parents had to agree, as I said, and then we only had 143 of those come in for treatment to the dental college. So it's a long process to get them there, and people hadn't had exposure to dentistry for some time, if ever, and they were afraid. The children were afraid, their parents were afraid. So this also means that even though they could have a very serious condition come on, we can't get them into treatment. We can tell them the import, and that's just about it. You can see in one of these bottom pictures a boy that has maybe 4 teeth that need to be extracted. So he'll lose those for his lifetime. So all children that were screened were given a toothbrush and toothpaste, and we give them, excuse me, dental hygiene education. We try to focus on using African products, and we do that because, again, we want to help in the community. Sorry. Again, we provided the dental hygiene education. The man pictured in the white coat is a dental student. He's in his 6th year of dental program. So why are the children not coming? Why aren't they getting dental support and care? Many of them live a long distance from any dental facility. So thank you so much. We took children by bus. So we used some of our money to not just rent the bus, but to pay for gasoline. So we could go out, screen the children, they have their permissions, we get them on the bus and bring them back to the dental college. If people have any kind of transport, fuel is expensive. It's not something you use every day, and so this is also a barrier. And then all of the things that we need to do for them, we take them all day long, they get this procedure, they need to be fed. So we actually provide food for the children en route to their dental treatment. We pay for prescriptions. That's another expense on top of everything else. And many times people say, well, why can't they afford? Surely they can afford toothbrush and toothpaste. I remind people that in Zambia, the per capita income is $1,700. And in the US, it's $70,000. So even my students, who were all Pell Grant students, they are low income, that I took this year, their poverty has no connection to the poverty in Zambia. That was a good lesson for them to learn, and a very good lesson as well to share this notion again of difference. And so again, we provide food, we make sure that they have access to education. Prevention is what will make a difference in Zambia. This is the dental college. It was a collaborative effort to set it up. It's a very nice dental college. However, you know, any kind of building and facility takes maintenance. They don't have a lot of money for maintenance. They don't have a lot of money for equipment. So we were able, again, to help them by the numbing agents. So lidocaine, any of the sorts of things they need to do the procedures. They need dental tools. They need usable supplies, expendable supplies. We pay for some of those as well. And then, again, we work really, really hard to teach children when to brush, how to brush, and how to get access again to care. We emphasize prevention always. That's the best way to go. And again, these dental hygiene materials are expensive, so we try to get children to use African products. Colgate has done a very good job in Africa of sharing. Colgate is now what people call toothpaste in Zambia. You don't say toothpaste, you say Colgate. Now, again, so when we're on the bus, when we're taking students in, we talk about the dental treatment they'll have. We go over how you take care of your teeth and why it's important. We talk to them about the fact that, you know, if you don't treat a caries, it can actually cause not just an infection, you could die if it's not treated. So this is really important for children to know and for their parents. And finally, again, prescriptions, which are not easy to get. They were able to get them, and we talk about the prescription, how you take it, an antibiotic for the full course, and so on. So this is the other important part of treatment that we were able to do in this program. There were 20 final year dental students at the collaborative institute that we worked with, the Copperbelt University School of Medicine. We were able to take them out into the field every day. Some of them would come out with our students and help screen. Some of them would then work on the children at the dental college. It was their first big community-based exposure, these Zambian dental students, and it was the first time they were able, again, to work with children. So now on their resume, they can talk about their experiences, what they learned, and so on. The Missouri State students, again, learn about poverty, the differences in the world, the way world economics are spilling out. They see all of the different issues coming. And on this particular program, as I mentioned, these were all Pell Grant students. They had a scholarship from the State Department called the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship. And a congressman set that up to make sure students began to see in the world all of these kinds of situations. We also worked with the Ministry of Health and had lots of help on that end. So for the children, many of them had never been in any kind of vehicle. It was their first time riding a bus. We made it fun. We put music on, some of their favorite Zambian music, and they sang. It was terrific, very vibrant on the way in, not so much on the way out, because of course they had the treatment. But we want to make dentistry positive. We want to make all of the kinds of interactions positives, not just for the dental folks, but also for Americans. We want to show that Americans are generous and kind and caring, and we certainly accomplished that. This whole group is, again, students that were treated, save the one man who's holding traditional dental sticks. In many parts of Africa, people still use a plant to clean their teeth, and so that's what he was selling. They're still prevalent in the country. So I want to have some time for questions. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, and especially to Christina, Usher, and to the entire Global Engagement Committee. I can't tell you how wonderful this money is. And also, of course, to Bev Austin. She tells me I taught her son, which I'm grateful. He said I was a favorite professor, so that's a good thing. And of course, I have to thank Natalie Cohen, who has been a real supporter of education, of global education, in all of my time doing this program. Since 2014, I started taking students from Nebraska through a grant from the USDA. The U.S. Department of Agriculture wants American students out in the field. So Natalie has been there from the beginning and helping and making sure that students learn about Africa. It's a big continent. It's also the one with the largest dental care need. That is, most people have unmet need. So I want to thank you again, the entire Rotary Club, the committees, everyone that donated and helped. You can't imagine the benefit from your money. And lastly, of course, I have to thank the Zambian Ministry of Health, because they were grateful, willing, and helped in the way that they could with this project. And finally, the Copperbelt University School of Medicine, who was instrumental in this project. I thank you again, and I look forward to questions if you have any.